Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
How many people's identity have you stolen?
A catfish exposed.
You've stolen his identity as though you were him.
Right.
Their privacy violated.
You were driving by their house, going to meet their family members. You are becoming a threat.
Will all their questions
We want to know why you're doing what you're doing and why our family.
finally be answered?
How'd you get the pictures from the inside of their house? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Yesterday, we met Alan and Amanda, who say for the past 9 years, Alan's pictures have been used as catfish bait to lure women into an online relationship. Now, Amanda and Alan decided to hire a private investigator to help track down this man. 3 weeks ago, the PI discovered that the catfish, the one that was stealing the identity, wasn't a man at all, but a 24-year-old woman named Sarah. They discover Sarah had been catfishing at least 50 women on one dating site. Sarah's boyfriend of 4 years, Ken, says he had no idea Sarah was living this secret life. Here's what's happened so far.
A complete stranger has been obsessively stalking our family. Someone was using my husband's identity, using all of his photos. They were catfishing women on a social media site.
I didn't think there was anything we could do about it, so we just kind of let it go.
But someone had taken a picture from the driver's seat of a car outside of our home. That's when I realized what we thought was just a catfisher was actually someone that was stalking our family. The catfish knew intimate details about our family, trips that we had gone on, the surgery that I had earlier this year, that my brother-in-law had been battling cancer. He was pretending that our life was his life.
What did you feel when you realized somebody's sitting at our curb taking pictures of our house?
I was scared. I started becoming paranoid.
We wanted to hire a private investigator to track this person down, but we were all shocked to find out who it was.
The person behind this was actually not a creepy man at all. It was a 24-year-old female. Sarah was catfishing women on Facebook. We learned that she had actually been using Alan's photos since 2011.
I didn't know Sarah, but at some point on Facebook, I had become friends with her. I discovered we had 99 mutual friends together. My brother told me that a couple weeks prior, she had been over at their house looking at a vehicle that they were selling. I thought it was really creepy.
It seems like Sarah wants to infiltrate our family.
Now, Amanda believes that Sarah is addicted to catfishing, yet her boyfriend Ken says he had no idea she was living this secret life.
Sarah and I met 4 years ago. At one point, Sarah did drive me past Amanda and Alan's house. She told me that the man who owned that house was dating a friend of hers while simultaneously being in an unhappy marriage. This doesn't make a lot of sense. But then when I found out she'd been catfishing people, all of a sudden, all those things that I had let go, it didn't surprise me anymore.
When you found out that she had stolen this man's identity and was using it to engage 50 different women, you know that now, right?
No, I didn't realize the number was that high, actually.
Sarah is playing a very dangerous game here. 50 people we know about, 2 other dating sites that you saw on her phone. You had to say, the hell are you thinking, woman? What are you doing? Did you have that kind of conversation? Well, with the help of a private investigator, Amanda and Alan tracked down 24-year-old Sarah. She says she never meant to hurt anyone. Take a look at what she had to say.
I don't know why I started using Alan's identity. I took his photo and I made a Facebook profile out of it. After the Facebook profile, I created a dating profile. I felt like it was easier to be somebody else other than myself. I was sexually abused around the age of 9. I was abused emotionally, physically, and mentally by multiple women and men in my life. It made me feel like less of a person. I was nobody. I would always message women because I wanted to find friendship. What I enjoyed out of doing this was the communication, having somebody to speak to. I like to learn more about them to make them feel better about themselves as well. I probably spoke to about 5 women on the phone. I just spoke in a deeper voice, and it seemed to have worked.
There was a 360 tour guide of the house.
How did you find out so much personal information from Alan and Amanda?
Google. Is it pretty easy to find? I didn't know anything about Alan's life in real life. A lot of it was large assumptions. Taking on a different identity was never meant to be malicious. Once Amanda and Alan found out who I was, it made me feel like just a horrible person. But I was also relieved because I was found out and now I can stop.
Well, Sarah, you know Amanda and Alan.
Yes.
For people that don't know, we've been using the term catfish, and that refers to someone that takes someone else's identity as their own, pretends to be them, engages other people for the purpose of creating a false relationship, whatever, a number of reasons, whatever, but it's a false relationship because it's a false identity.
Right.
And that's what you've done.
Yes.
You've stolen his identity, assumed their backstory, assumed their life, pretended that it was your own, and engaged with a number of individuals as though you were him, correct?
Right.
Why?
Why I did that, I cannot be for sure. That's what I'm here for the answer of why I did it. Yeah, I could rack my brain and, well, I don't know why I did it. There was a void that was filled in this, and that's the best thing I can come up with is...
Well, you say you were talking to 20 women, right?
Right.
It's actually been more than that across time, correct?
Right.
Some of these relationships that you talked to him about got pretty involved, right?
Right.
And how do you think those people feel when they find out that it's not real, when you just disappear one day?
Not good. I can't imagine that they feel good about it.
How do you think these people feel when they find out that you've been using their identity, their story, their background, and using it to exploit other people and exploit them emotionally?
Really not good. I can't understand their feeling. I wish I could, so that I can understand better, but I do know that it's nothing, it's not good.
Well, here's an example of what you've said to someone as Alan. You're gorgeous, beautiful smile. I enjoyed reading your profile. I'm hanging out with my babies today. The victim says, I think you and I have crossed paths before. And at that time, you had baby, singular. You say, whoa, you caught me off guard. I was talking about my girl and dog. I remember chatting with you now. Good memory. Was it because I wasn't divorced at the time that you didn't want to continue talking? Did you get caught? Mm-hmm. What do you think while you're actually typing this? Take me through the moment that you pick somebody out and start typing to them. What goes through your head at that moment?
I'm not myself. When I'm doing that, I'm not me.
Mm-hmm. And who are you then? What are you saying to yourself?
See, I'm not good enough. I was never a person. I was always non-existent.
Uh-huh. But you have a relationship in the real world.
Yes.
So is he not good enough to fill your needs?
He is.
Does he not validate you enough?
I just never felt like I was good enough for him.
Well, here's what you told a victim as Alan regarding Amanda. You said, Amanda is still very much part of my life because she's the mother of my children. Mm-hmm. She's very close with my family. She was in my brother's wedding. We're not apart. We're not together. Mm-hmm. you were explaining Amanda away.
Right.
Because she's in some of the pictures and
Right.
all. Did you think about how this would make them feel?
I didn't.
You didn't think about how it would make the victims feel?
Right.
Well, coming up, we're going to hear from one of Sarah's victims who says she's still heartbroken because she fell in love. We'll be right back.
It was always a deep, dark secret that I kept to myself.
Are you sorry that you've done this, or are you sorry that you got caught? And later, you're now driving by their house, taking pictures, and going to meet their family members.
Yeah.
This is getting highly intrusive here. You are becoming a problem and a threat.
I know that my brother had online communication with Sarah on 2 separate occasions. I know from Sarah that she did meet him at a golf establishment, but my brother does not have any recollection of that meeting or messaging her.
I told my sister that I don't remember this girl. I do not ever remember speaking to her. She said we met up. I never remember meeting up with her.
Somebody is lying.
Well, just 3 weeks ago, Sarah was caught catfishing several women for years using Alan's pictures from social media. Sarah says she didn't know her father, so pretending to be Alan allowed her to be the father she always imagined. Sarah more than just took the name Alan, she really hijacked your life and every aspect of it. Here is one of Sarah's collages that she put together of Alan. This is what she built up. All of these pictures, this is just kind of a highlight reel of your life, right? And you put all of these together. This is a lot of work that goes into pulling all these together, right?
Yeah.
And what was your desired effect in putting all these together? What was it you wanted the effect to be when you presented all this to one of your victims?
That there's no question that I'm somebody else.
Okay, you wanted them to go for it hook, line, and sinker, right?
Right.
You wanted them all in.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted them committed, heart and soul. You wanted them to believe it's you, that you are Alan, and commit to the relationship.
That was my intention.
Commit their heart to the relationship. Mm-hmm. What did you think about your relationship here? Did you think that he would ever find out about this?
Oh, I always knew it was wrong. I knew it was bad.
How do you feel about the fact that he knows about it now?
Along with anybody that knows it, I'm extremely embarrassed and ashamed and, not worthy of him or his time with me now. I am happy he knows because it's completely open, and maybe he can help me cope with it and become stronger with it. I wouldn't have anybody else by my side rather than him. He's been a trooper through it all.
Why is it wrong?
Why is it? It's not right. It's not right having someone else's identity.
Well, I know it's not right, but I'm waiting for you to tell me why it's wrong.
Why it's wrong? It's wrong to hurt people the way I have.
So how does somebody feel when you've gotten them to go all in, fall in love with who they think you are, and then find out that it's all a scam? What does that do to them?
I imagine it doesn't do anything good for them. I imagine that it hurts. It's something that I didn't think about when I was doing it. And I can't imagine the pain or the hurt that they're feeling waiting for somebody to come around that's not.
Are you sorry that you've done this, or are you sorry that you got caught?
I am extremely sorry that I've done this. I've always been sorry that I've done this. I've never enjoyed it. I've never liked that I did this. It was always a deep, dark secret that I kept to myself because I knew it was wrong. I felt bad. I am sorry. I'm not sorry that I got caught because I needed to get caught.
Well, here's a statement from one of Sarah's victims. This person entered my life at a vulnerable time. A long-term marriage had just ended, and I liked the attention. He seemed to know everything about Alan and provided lots of pictures. This gave me a false sense of security. I was invited to go on several events, dates, including a fishing event, but he always canceled last minute. I just kept hoping this was real. He absorbed months of my time and attention. This charade needs to stop. It's emotionally scarring. How do you feel about that?
I feel absolutely horrible. I am ashamed of myself.
Well, I've got a few questions for you after the break. You know, there are some questions to which there are obvious socially desirable answers, and then there are some questions that do have right answers, but they're not obvious.
Okay.
I have a few of those when we come back.
I don't think that she comprehends the gravity of what you've done. We want to know why you're doing what you're doing.
Why? Why her? And later, is he your male voice?
He is not.
Then let me hear your male voice if it's not him. Let me hear your male voice while he's here.
I can't.
Just
In my
something-
dark secret.
Read that sentence right there in your male voice.
Coming from a catfish herself, to make sure you aren't being catfished, it is very important to not friend anybody that you don't know. I definitely wouldn't do online dating. I'd want to meet in person after a certain time. I would want to do a background check. Just make sure you're careful.
Sarah says catfishing made her feel like a better person because being someone else is better than being her. I have some questions I'm going to ask in just a minute. What do you think about what you're hearing from her so far?
I don't think that she comprehends the gravity of what you've done to our family and to these victims. We want you to get help, but we want to know why you're doing what you're doing and why our family.
Well, she's been focused on you since 2011.
Right.
So we're talking 7-8 years here.
Right.
Why? Why her? Because we have a post all the way back to December 16th of 2011. I know you don't know me, but I'm a fan. I have only heard great things about you and what you do. I want to be a chiropractor and physical therapist when I get out of high school. I'd love to be your friend on here if you don't mind. Oh, and you're very pretty, and I think I kind of sound like a creeper.
Yeah.
Prophetic.
Yeah.
You just found that post, right?
I just found it, and I actually discovered I had blocked you.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the producer asked me to look back into some messages that I recognized your profile picture. So I just thought, okay, that's a weirdo. That's a kind of a weird thing to get.
Yeah.
So I just blocked you.
Right.
So you couldn't have gotten anything from my page. And I
Right.
had pretty strict privacy settings too. You were on his mom's, his sisters, his brothers, my brothers. I mean, you had infiltrated yourself into our complete circle of influence.
Did you date her
are
brother?
me.
I didn't date him. I met him one time.
Did you engage with him? How much you talked to him? How much did you?
Hour or so, it was just conversation. Nothing in depth.
You say this isn't a date, but you're at this driving range, right? And so you approach him at this point?
Yeah.
And you knew it was her brother?
Yeah.
How'd you know he was going to be there?
We had planned to meet up that night at that place.
Did you take that picture?
I did.
How do you feel about that? I mean, you're now getting into their real lives.
Right.
You're seeking out her brother, his brother-in-law. You're seeking him out. You're setting up a time to go meet him. You're now getting into their real world.
Yeah.
That's different than just virtual reality. That's different than stealing his identity, engaging women you don't know, never meet, never see, feeding them a line, breaking their hearts on virtual reality. You're now driving by their house, taking pictures, and going to meet their family members.
Yeah.
And seriously, this is getting highly intrusive here. You are becoming a problem and a threat.
Right.
And that was 2 years ago.
Right. So what's your thinking here? What's your thinking when you're meeting him?
My thinking was just, I don't understand my complete thinking as to why I did that. To get more of a feel of maybe who he was as a person, to understand more of him. To get more in depth of the people, the person I was catfishing, to understand more. But when it came down to it, I never got in depth. I never went further than, I can't say I never went further than, because I went too far.
And how'd you get the pictures from the inside of their house?
When they had their house up for sale, and there was this virtual tour, and it was a 360 tour, and you can go through their house. And I would just stop at a point and just screenshot it on my phone.
And you know they got a private investigator.
Yes.
Worked on this. You know they talked to Ken about it. And he cooperated with them.
Yeah.
Are you glad he did? Upset that he did?
No, I'm happy that he did. I'm happy that he cooperated. Like I said, I needed to be caught. I knew I needed to be caught. It was time that I had stopped. I wanted to stop. I would stop thinking, okay, this was it, done. And then I would do it again.
How many people's identity have you stolen?
Yeah, it was just his.
How lucky for us that the only time you've ever done this is the one we found out about. Closed captioning provided by... You said in one of your interviews that when you talked to these people, they felt better about themselves after you talked to them, like you were doing a service.
I did say that I never felt it as a service.
Well, what did you mean? You pump them up. They feel better about themselves afterwards.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out if your thinking is that distorted and that delusional that you can gaslight somebody and tell them all of these nice things about themselves and then absolutely gut them emotionally when you lead them to the precipice, lead them to the threshold, and then abandon them at the last minute, where they think somebody that thinks they're wonderful and builds them up with all these expectations and then just doesn't show up because they're not real.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out whether you're just naive or you're that delusional in your thinking because you aren't real.
Yeah.
And they're going to find out I was a sucker. I believed all of that stuff from somebody, and they aren't real. There was never that person. I was a fool. I'm betrayed. I've been led to the slaughter here emotionally by this person.
Right.
But yet when you're talking now, you say, well, when I talked to them, they always felt better about themselves afterwards, so, you know, it was okay.
I mean, I don't say it nonchalantly.
Well, actually, you did.
Well, I don't mean to. I'm just trying to be straightforward and honest with what's going on in my brain. I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I never started this. I wish I had never done this.
How many people's identity have you stolen?
It was just his.
Oh, just his. The only one that we know about is the only one you've ever done.
Right.
How lucky for us that the only time you've ever done this is the one we found out about.
Yes. 6, 7 years, I never had any need to use anybody else.
What about these other 2 dating sites that are on your phone?
I'm
There
sorry?
are 3 dating sites, the one that you were doing this one on, and then there are 2 other apps on your phone besides this one.
That was just me.
That was just you actually going on there as yourself?
Yeah.
I've seen her on. I saw her on 3 different ones at least, so I can't deny that that's accurate, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact that.
But that was okay with you?
Well, we were in our off phase. Of course, it wasn't okay with me, but at the same time, I can't control her when we're not. I can't control her, period. But when we're in a relationship, I would like to think that she's not on there doing that. But
Right.
I never caught her doing that when we were in a relationship.
And how do you speak in this male voice? Because we're trying to determine whether he's in on this or he's not. Is he your male voice?
He is not.
Then let me hear your male voice if it's not him. Let me hear your male voice while he's here.
It's really embarrassing, and I wish I could do it, but I probably wouldn't.
Well, take a stab. Because I want to hear it while he's here.
Oh, okay. I'm really trying to pull it out, but I can't. It was just something I did in my bedroom.
Just
my
something.
dark secret
Yeah.
that
Well,
I
here.
never shared.
Just read that sentence right there in your male voice. Read it in your regular voice and then read it in your male voice.
Okay, I'll try. Denzel and Dr. Phil introduced new erectile dysfunction cure. Big Pharma's upset.
Okay.
Denzel and Dr. Phil introduced new erectile dysfunction cure. Big Pharma upset.
Okay. All right. That sounds like your male voice.
Yeah.
You did it for the PI as well. Let's listen to that.
Yes.
There was a 360 tour guide of the house, and I took snapshots. I don't remember. I'll let him believe that. Sorry, what did you say? No, I didn't hear you. Someone else was talking to me. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't really do it this way. This is my voice speaking as a man.
Well, I have no doubt it's not you being the male voice. Coming up, Alan wants Sarah to pay back the cost of the private investigator and attorney fees. What's Sarah's attitude about that? I said I have some questions. I'm going to ask those right when we come back. Closed captioning provided by Sarah was caught for the second time catfishing women pretending to be Alan on an online dating site and Facebook. Amanda and Alan say they brought Sarah here to me in hopes of helping her finally stop. And I'm very focused on that right now, and I said I had some questions. You're a scam artist, right? That's what you've been doing.
Yes.
And so the question becomes, when are you scamming and when are you not? And y'all are curious how sincere she is right now, right? What's your thought right now?
I think it's all honestly. I mean, I don't believe any of it.
Here's one of my questions. And I'm going to, you're here, I do give you credit for that. When you do this, it's very premeditated, right? I mean, you've built these pictures, you've done all this. This isn't just a whim, you just kind of get on there and start typing.
Right.
You've put a lot into this, right?
I have.
And you've maintained it for a long time, correct?
On and off.
So, what's your payoff?
There is no payoff. It's just me not being me. I guess the payoff is me being somebody else and not myself.
Well, what's the payoff to that? And let me just be very clear. There is a payoff. We don't do things if there's not a payoff. You're getting a payoff. I just want to know if you'll tell us what it is.
Just me being somebody else. Me being
What's the payoff in being
myself.
someone else?
Someone that is confident, someone that is successful, someone that is good looking, someone that has a family. That's what that is for me. I can't imagine their distress and I can't imagine their pain. I can say that it's not good, it's not healthy, I can't be, I wish I was in their shoes to feel their pain and to understand it. I know it, and I know the right words are not coming out, but I can't feel how you guys are feeling. It wasn't nice. I'm sure you guys went through a lot of distress and a lot of pain through this, and when I was doing what I was doing, I didn't realize that. It's not that I didn't want to. It's not that I enjoyed doing what I did or had fun doing it at all, by any means. I never meant any harm. I never thought about it as any harm because I never meant any. And I'm just rambling, and I wish I could
All
say
you did
exactly
was ramble
how I
for an
feel.
hour and a half when we met you at the PI's office, and it's the same crap that's going on here. I mean, it's
Would you like to know why that is?
I would love to, yeah.
You've heard no real sense of remorse come out of her because she doesn't feel that.
This makes a whole lot of sense.
Look, I can't diagnose her because to do that, I would have to go through a diagnostic process, and that would involve at least for me, and I did this when I was in practice for years and years, I would go through a structured interview, and then I would probably involve a battery of psychometrics, and then I would go through a differential diagnostic process and narrow down and eliminate different things and come down. But I can tell you what would be on my short list of what I would consider, because there are some real telltale signs here. And when you're dealing with something like an antisocial personality disorder, the problem with folks like that is they don't have empathy. They don't have the ability to put themselves in someone else's shoes and experience what that person would feel. And so when you ask them, how do you suppose your victim would feel? They start to ramble, and they tell you, she's actually said probably 10 times, I can't imagine. I can't even imagine what you feel. And when I say, tell me what your victim would feel, it's like, they don't even know how to fake that. They don't know how to do that. You've heard no real sense of remorse come out of her because she doesn't feel that. And you're right, when she wrote the apology, there was no real remorse in the apology because I don't think she knows how to really feel remorse, and she doesn't know how to empathetically reflect how you must feel, how the other victims that she led to the threshold of thinking they were in love and getting ready to commit to a relationship. She doesn't know how that person felt when they found out it was all a scam. She says, I can't imagine. I say, how do you think they felt? I can't imagine. I mean, she's being honest in saying, I can't imagine, because she doesn't know what words to use. It's the difference between reflecting feeling and reflecting content. Somebody that doesn't know feelings, somebody come to work and say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late, my dog got run over and killed. If you're reflecting content, you would say, oh, really, what kind of dog? If you're reflecting feeling, you go, oh my gosh, you must feel terrible about that. I'm so sorry. Have a seat. Let's talk about this. Two very different responses, right? One is content. Really? What kind of dog? The other is feelings. Let's talk about how you must feel having experienced that loss. She would ask what kind of dog, because she doesn't know how to respond at a feeling level.
So much of this, it makes sense. This makes a lot of things that have happened in the past with us make a whole lot of sense.
How so?
Well, it explains, number one, to me, a lot of things that I was confused about, because when I first got here, you know, you could tell that I was a bit naive in this situation, because a lot of the things that she says to me, you know, passionately seem true. You know, a lot of the things that we have talked about recently, a lot of the experiences that we've shared recently have felt extremely legitimate to me. But then when I remember things that have happened in the past, I never could understand why I couldn't get her to see things from my perspective. I do remember having those feelings a lot of times to where I didn't understand why I couldn't get her to understand how I was feeling. And so that backs up what you're saying.
There's another question for Sarah, and it comes from Alan. We'll be right back. Closed captioning provided by... So, Alan, you've spent a lot of money unraveling this. Conservatively, you're out of pocket like $7,000, which is a very conservative number. You want that paid back.
Yeah, I think it's only fair that she'd pay us back for having to track her down and deal with all this crap.
What do you say about that?
I definitely deserve that. Completely.
Why did y'all decide to come here instead of prosecute?
I think that she really needs help. I heard your pain in your voice when we met with you. I know he did too. We really do want the best for you.
They do want you to pay this money back at whatever rate you can. If it takes forever plus a day, you want her to be accountable at least to that extent, correct?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think it is fair as well. And you agree to that?
Completely.
They were gracious enough to bring you here to get you some help. And I'm telling you, I do think you're broken. Mm-hmm. I think that you're trying to say whatever you need to say to get out of serious trouble with these people and otherwise. I get that. But brushing all of that aside and relying on nothing you're saying, but only on what I'm hearing and how you're answering. I said I was going to ask you questions to which there was not a socially desirable answer. Mm-hmm. I did. I asked you to answer some questions that required empathy, warmth, and genuineness, and you were unable to display any of the three. I think you have experienced trauma in your life. I think you have experienced abandonment in your life. And I think you have experienced some real infliction of pain in your life. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that anything has ever happened to heal those things in your life. And so rather than judge you, I would like to help you.
I appreciate that. I'm
going to recommend that you let me send you to a place called Onsite. Onsite is a worldwide leader in intensive workshops and very customized treatment protocols for people that have suffered emotional trauma in their lives. And it'll make a big difference in your life, and you will be forever indebted to these people for making that available to you instead of jail.
Definitely.
And I'll make those arrangements for you, and for once in your life, somebody will reach out to you instead of slapping you down.
That'd be great.
Fair enough. I want to thank my guests today for sharing their story, and a special thanks to Miles Adcox and Onsite for offering to help Sarah. For more information about today's show, you can log on to drphil.com. We'll see you next time.